Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yasharal and Yahuda. Grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. Listen, Yahuwah is visiting the Eretz. He is coming with judgment. He's coming with destruction. He's coming with the judgment that begins first at the house of Yahuda and Yasharal, of Yisrael, and then to the other nations. Listen, understand something. There's only two sides, Yahuwah's side and Hasatan's side. There's only two sides. The side that worships Yahuwah through faith and the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach, and those who don't. There's only two sides. The sides of those who have received the witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, and those who haven't. Listen, you better understand what we are in. Listen to another the Hezekiah. The song is entitled Freedom Wins 2.5 out on the rights of this music. Yahuwah is coming back for a people. He's coming back for a people. A mixed multitude. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that you would take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that I would not cause anyone to stumble, anyone to be turned out of the way, anyone to come up late. Yahuwah, I pray that the Ruach HaKodesh of truth would minister life and peace to those who have an ear to hear. Yahuwah, from amongst the other nations, and from the nation of Yahuda and the nation of Yasharal. Yahuwah, I pray right now in the name of Yahusha for the remnant. Those who are enduring tribulation, those who will endure tribulation, those who will endure until the end in this witness. Yahuwah, I pray that you would strengthen them right now, that you encourage them right now, and that the words that you give me to give to them would strengthen them and encourage them right now. Yahuwah, that they would grow thereby. Yahuwah, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I pray. We glory in tribulation. See, we don't have to fear anyone or anything. See, we glory in the fact that we understand that there's tribulation coming, but you know, that tribulation is given to us as an ally. It is a friend. It is there to develop us, to establish us, to give us what we need to get the job done, to endure to the end. Right? Tribulation works in conjunction with the Ruach HaKodesh of truth and the word of Yahuwah. All of these things work together for the good of us. Right? We receive tribulation and we understand that the end result is the kingdom of Yahuwah. The end result is the kingdom of Yahuwah. We are the children of Yahudah. We who have received his witness are a people that he has prophesied concerning in Ezra, the 2nd chapter. That's where we at. And we going in. We ain't hesitating. We going right in. Ezra, we left off at the 17th verse, right? And again, we're going to go quickly through these verses up to the 17th verse, right? He says, thus saith ADONI, that brought this people out of bondage and gave them commandments to my servants the prophets, whom thou would not hear and despise their counsel. So he's talking to the nation of Israel, right? He's talking to Jacob and Yahuda, right? He said, the mother that bore them saith, go unto them, go ye your way, ye children, for I am a widow forsaken. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you robbed and spoiled. Yahuwah has turned his back on you, right? He has hid his face from you, right? Because of your sins, right? I brought you up with gladness, but with sorrow and heaviness have I lost you. I brought you up with gladness, but in heaviness and sorrow have I lost you. Listen, there was a time in the nation where we were glad and rejoicing, having a king, David, and having a king under Shlomo, who was after about 30 years in, before that, he was the wisdom of Yahuwah in the flesh. And he brought prosperity to the kingdom in the favor of Yahuwah. And they remembered that. But it was short-lived because, again, King Shlomo gave himself to know wisdom and he gave himself to know wisdom and knowledge, right? But he also gave himself to know madness and folly. This led to the destruction and the demise of the nation because he introduced idolatry, right? So, he says, I brought thee up in gladness, but with sorrow and heaviness have I lost you, right? You have lost your first love. You lost the Yahuwah. You lost him who brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You lost him who is your deliverer, right? He has turned his back on you. You are forsaken. You are forsaken. You are abandoned. You are deserted. You are left. He quit on you. He departed from you. He left you behind. He left you high and dry, right? He cast you aside. He gave you up. He rejects you. He disowns you. These are all synonyms of forsaken, right? So he did this because you left him. He said, listen, for I lost you. For ye have sinned before you, ADONI, your Yahuwah, and have done that thing which is evil before him. What is that thing that they did that was evil before him? Exodus 20:2, I am Yahuwah thy Yahuwah that brought thee up out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other else before me. What did they do that was evil? And they put other else before him. What did Shlomo do after the peace and the prosperity of the people? He entertained madness and folly as the king. He introduced elves into the temple. He introduced elves into the city, in the city gates. He introduced elves and groves. He allowed sacrifices unto these idols. These idols required human sacrifices. He offered the adultery, the sacrifice of babies. That's the evil. That's the evil. Thou shalt not make any graven images or any likeness of anything in the heavens that are in the earth beneath or the waters underneath the earth. Listen, thou shalt not make any other graven images. That's why, listen. We have to be careful, even in our interpretation of art. Right? Because Yahuwah said, make no images. Right? Right? When we draw an image of Yahuwah, it's an image. Right? That image becomes or can become the object of a worship. Right? That's why when we draw things, right? When we carve things, right? We have to understand that these things can be images that can be turned into idols or become a form of idolatry, right? He said, thou shalt not bow down to them nor serve them, for Yahuwah thy Yahuwah is a jealous Yahuwah, visiting the iniquities of the fathers unto the children, to the third and fourth generation of them that hate him, right? So Yisrael hated Yahuwah. They demonstrated their hatred to him by taking upon themselves other elves in replacing of him, right? He says, for ye have sinned before Yahuwah, ADONI, your Yahuwah, and have done that which is evil before him. He says, but what shall I do unto you? I am a widow and forsaken. This is the nation speaking to the nation, right? He said, what should I do for you? I'm the mother. I brought you up, right? Right? But you have gone astray. What am I going to do with you? right? He says, what am I going to do unto you? For I am a widow and forsaken. I need help, right? Go your way, my children, and ask Yahuwah for mercy, right? Go your way and ask Yahuwah to give mercy to you, right? He says, as for me, O Father, I call upon thee as a witness over the mother of these children. Excuse me. I'm the witness to the behavior of the mother of the children. Right? Which would not keep your covenant. Would not keep your covenant. Right? You wouldn't keep the covenant of Yahuwah. Right. Let's look. We know what it is. But you know, I'm a simplistic kind of brethren. I'm going to do it just the way Yahuwah gives it to me so that you'll understand, right? He said the covenant. He said, listen, Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass if you hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and observe to do all his commandment, which is his covenant, right? His agreement, his contract. If you agree to the contract, if you agree to the covenant, right, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. You will be a superior people due to the agreement that you have with the one and only all true Yahuwah Elohim. This relationship would lock you in to a place of higher status, right? Because Yahuwah is the creator of all things. And by virtue of the fact that he has chosen you from among the nation, he has entered a contract, he's entered an agreement with you, that if you take heed to this contract, then there is going to be favorable outcomes. But if you choose not to take heed to this covenant, this agreement, right? He says, I will bless thee. He says, and I will set thee on high. He says, the commandments to observe and to do all his commandments, still first verse of 20th chapter, right? Which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. And this is what he's going to do. All these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee if thou hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah Elohim, right? So from the second verse, the third verse, onto the 15th verse, all express the things that Yahuwah is going to do for you as a nation of people, because you have entered into this contractual agreement, and with this contractual agreement comes blessings, right? And we witnessed that through Dawid. We witnessed that through Shlomo. But after Shlomo, right, we experienced the departure from the righteousness that we had in Yahuwah, in his temple, having dedicated it, in a continual offering of sacrifices and doing those things which please Yahuwah, to a place where we are now. A place where people who are robbed and spoiled. Right? Now, he says in that 15th verse, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. These curses, right? The curses are going to come because you don't do this. And you know what? From the 15th through the 68th verse of the curses. Right? 15th through the 68 verses, almost 3 times as much curses that comes, right, as a result of the disobedience or the breaking of the covenant, as it is in the first 13 verses, right? 13, 12 verses. All of the rest of the verses are the curses after that 15th verse. He says, listen, he says, which would not keep my covenant. Verse 6, that thou bringest them into confusion. You be brought into confusion, right? You be brought into confusion. Your mother will be spoiled, right? You'll be brought into confusion. You'll be brought in uncertainty. You will lack certainty. You will be unsure, right? You will operate with indecision, right? You will move in hesitancy, right? You will be a skeptic. You will doubt. You be ignorant, right? Right? He said these are synonyms of confusion, a lack of understanding. My people perish for a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge. They perish, right? Right? But that's the result of the curse, right? That's the result of your disobedience, because you are going to be brought into confusion, right? Disarray, disorganized, disorderly, right? These are synonyms of the word, right? So, you who were once a people that had a structure and an order, right? You are now going to experience disorder, right? I'm going to take your Shabbaoths. I'm going to take your new moons away from you, right? Right? I'm going to take your Shabbats. You're going to lose your order, right? You are going to be robbed and spoiled. You are going to be confused, right? We as a people, right, are confused. Those who have now received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach, you're still in confusion. Right? Even if you think you turn to Yahuwah and you're keeping his Torah, you're still in confusion because you ain't recognized that you need to turn to Yahusha Mashiach. And even if you turn to Yahusha Hamashiach but haven't received the Ruach HaKodesh, then you still lack, because Ruach HaKodesh is the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, and you got to ask for him. You got to receive him in Emunah. Right? Even without him, you still robbed and spoiled. You still confused. Right? You're studying, right? And the studying that you do is limited because you don't possess the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, which will lead you and guide you into our truth, right? The assumption is that, you just got the Ruach. Well, no, you just don't got the Ruach. You got the Ruach when you ask for him. Yahusha said, will my Father not give him that Ruach HaKodesh to those who ask? Hello. So it's a process of you asking. You have to receive it. You got to ask Yahuwah to forgive you of your sins. Right? You got to be baptized and ask to have your sins washed and removed. You got to ask to have his blood atone for your sins. Right? The priest offered up the blood for the atonement of the people's sin. Right? They had to wait for Yahuwah's approval. Yahuwah had to have approved of the sacrifice. Confusion. They lost the order. Lost order. That's why we're searching and scrambling now, trying to, at times, to figure out which day is the right day. Well, Shabbat is not that day because it's not that number. Or Shabbat is not this day, it's not that number. Well, we count by the numbers of the days, and the numbers of the days don't always add up. Confused. There's still confusion. Right? Right? And listen, you know what? Yahuwah is good, because Yahuwah is going to put it all in order the way it should be, and we're going to understand it fully, right? Once everything is restored back to its place, right? It's still in disarray because, listen, you have people who have the Ruach HaKodesh, that move in the Ruach HaKodesh and recognize that, these feast days that right, that we've chosen and have established as the feast days based on the times that we have, are in remembrance, right? Because we was the people robbed and spoiled. We lost our identity. We didn't even know what a feast day was. We just now learning what a feast day is. Right? Right? We just now coming into the knowledge of these things. Right? Now, because we were robbed and spoiled. We were confused. Gentiles too. They didn't have a clue. Right? Much like us. They didn't have a clue. And even them that come into the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach and have received this, they still have to understand that even amongst serving, even in these feast days, in these sacred days, right? You do them in Emunah. We keep the Shabbat, the seventh day. We keep the Shabbat, the day of rest, on Friday, right? Friday. Not Sunday. Sunday has too many connotations to idol worship, right? It is something that was employed by Constantine. We know Sunday ain't right, right? We understand Sunday ain't right, right? So the first day of the week is Sunday, right? The seventh day is Saturday. But the day is from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, right? But there's even discrepancies amongst that in the nation. That's why it's going to be at the time in which Yahuwah restores all things, right? Right now, there's going to be no confusion on what day it is, what hour, that ain't going to exist. Because Yahusha is going to establish his kingdom. And his kingdom is for a people. Confusion, right? What does it mean? 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 What does it mean to be spoiled? Right? To be spoiled. People robbed and spoiled. Right? Spoiled. Let's do this. S-P-O-I-L-D-D. I know we've been through it, but we're going to go through it again. Spoiled. Spoiled. Diminished, destroyed. The value or quantity, the value destroyed. We're going to be robbed and spoiled. Right? We're going to be confused because we ain't going to know who we are. And they're going to see to it because they've conspired against the people of Yahuwah. Yeah. They have come together to remove the remembrance of the nation of Israel from the earth, right? We were spoiled, damaged, impaired, blemished, disfigured, blighted, flawed, defaced. All of these things were done to us, literally. Literally, we were damaged, we were impaired, we were blemished, right? We were disfigured. Listen, Leopold cut the hands of these brews off. Because they couldn't make enough rubber. We were a blight, we were flawed, we were defaced, literally, scarred. Literally. We were wrecked, destroyed. We were messed up. Right? Sabotaged. Right? We were sabotaged. Synonyms. Listen. We were people robbed and spoiled. He said the mother to spoil that there may be no offspring of them. Right? There are no offspring of them. Why? Right? Because it wasn't that we weren't producing kids. We were producing kids like nobody's business. That's why Margaret Sanger came up with the idea of Planned Parenthood, because she's trying to eliminate all them young Hebrews. Come on, man. These people are Baphomet Baal worshipers. And then we offer them up. And we don't want to take responsibility. We offer them up. They don't even come out of the womb. Our people offer them up. Played right into their hands. Right? It wasn't because we weren't producing offspring. Right? It wasn't that we weren't producing any kids, right? There may be no offspring of them. No, of course we were producing kids, but we weren't producing kids who were under a covenant of Yahuwah. See, because that was taken away. We broke that, right? There was no more of the children of Yisrael. We were right. We were scattered to the four corners of the earth. Everywhere we went, we was trampled. He said, listen. He says, let them be scattered amongst the heathen. Right? And let their names be put out of the earth. Let their names be put out of the earth. Listen. For they have despised my covenant. Listen. They have despised my covenant, right? Psalms 83:4. It says, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Let us cut them off from being a nation. This is what the heathen said. They were just fulfilling what Yahuwah's word was said. That's what Yahuwah said. So the nations, in their wickedness, plotted and conspired together, right, that the name of Yasharal will be no more in remembrance. He said, let them be scattered amongst the heathens. Why? Because the heathens are going to cut them off, right? Heathens going to assimilate them into their country, into their culture, right? You're going to have like, what's his name? What's his name, you? Epiphanes. Is it Epiphanes? Titus Epiphanes? And in the Greeks, there was Jews. Jews that wanted to change their identity. They didn't want to be Jews no more. They wanted to be Greeks. It's the same thing. They still doing it. Conspiring. Hiding the people. Right? Hiding the people. And you know, they done got the people so hid that the people, once the knowledge of who they are really surfaces, they don't even want to believe it. They don't want to believe it, man. They don't want to believe it, man. They don't want to believe it, man. I remember when I talked to my mother about being Hebrew. We the people. Talk to your family members. They be like, look, we believe in Jesus. He's our Lord and Savior. Listen. Robbed and spoiled. And there's no offspring from them. Right? But see now, because I recognize that I'm Yahuwah's people, right? I recognize that I have to be made alive through faith in the witness of Yahusha Mashiach as his people, right? I was once robbed and spoiled. I didn't have an identity. All I knew that I was from slave owners, right? All I knew was my name was Walker, because my father's name was Walker, and his father's name was Walker. But his father's father was probably the property of a Walker. Right? So, I ain't no Walker. Right? Right? That's why my name is Yaakov, Yahuda, Gaal. Right? That's my name. I gave myself that name. You were going to give me a name. I did that because I wanted you to know that I understand who I am. For whoever, I understand who I am. I changed my name. I'm Hebrew. Right? Gentiles don't have to change their name. Gentiles ain't Hebrews. You don't have to change your name. If your name is Smith, your name is Smith. You know, you don't have to change your name. Listen, we robbed and spoiled, right? Let their name be put out of the earth, for they have despised the covenant. So it's all about the despising of the covenant. He swore unto Ashur, thou that hidest unrighteousness in thee. Now Ashur was one of those nations, Assyria, that came into league with these counsel crafty people to hide the name of the children of Israel, right? Oh, thou wicked people, you Assyrians, you're wicked, right? Remember what I did unto Sodom and Gomorrah. Listen, I'm going to do the same thing to you. You know, you come in and you let the people come into the town, right? And then you trap them. You steal from them, right? You do them wrong. And then you make them be a part of you, right? Right? You better hear me, man. You better hear me. You better hear me. Listen. He says, whose land lays a cloud of pitch, because you know that's what happened to, yeah, I'll cut that out. That's what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. That was the byproduct. That was the result that Yahuwah did when he consumed them. Right? Right? He said, I am Almighty Yahuwah. Then he says, then thus saith Yahuwah unto Esther, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, and I will give, which I would have given unto Israel. So now he's talking to a people that he's going to give the land, and he's going to give Israel to. He would have gave to Israel. What? Israel already had the land. No, Yahuwah's got a people. See, and this people is going to receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. This is people, the people that Yahuwah is going to bring the kingdom of Yahuwah to. These people is going to receive the kingdom, right? Can't keep going, keep going. He said, their glory also will I take unto me, and I will give these an everlasting tabernacle which I have prepared for them. Right? Yahuwah has prepared an everlasting tabernacle. Right? Yahusha HaMashiach is that sacrifice that gained access into that tabernacle. He is that high priest that went into that tabernacle. That tabernacle that Yahusha went in with his blood was an everlasting tabernacle. It was a tabernacle that Yahuwah had pitched. He says, and I will give them he says, listen, their glory also will I take unto me, and give these the everlasting tabernacles which I have prepared for them, or dwellings that he has prepared for them. Yahusha, there's a tabernacle in the Shamayim which Yahusha went to as a high priest, right? But Yahusha says this is going to be placed as a dwelling for you, right? In my kingdom, right? It's kingdom in the Eretz, right? These dwelling places. When he establishes a kingdom in the Eretz, he's got one for you. He says, they shall have the tree of life for an ornament of sweet savor, and they shall not labor nor be weary. We have a tree of life. We'll be able to rest from labors. Rest from labors. We ain't got to work like that. Because he's going to give us handmaidens and servants to tend our vineyards and do the labors that we once did. It's in the book. Right? Right? He says, you shall not be weary. He says, go and ye shall receive. Pray a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. See, we've received the kingdom. You tell the people they need to be prepared because the kingdom is coming. Right? Yahusha brought the kingdom of Yahuwah to the Eretz. Right? Now listen. Yahusha made possible. He paved the way. He crushed evil. He took the keys of hell and death. Right? Yahusha has paved the way for us to have the kingdom. Right? Now, technically, in this witness, having received Yahusha HaMashiach's blood for the atonement of our sins, having been baptized, and having received the Ruach HaKodesh, right, we are set apart, set aside. We have the earnest of this kingdom, right? We have the earnest, the down payment, right? We have what we need to get the job done, and if we endure faithfully to the end, we shall participate in the kingdom, right? He says this. He says, pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened, right? This time that is taking to bring forth the kingdom, right? The kingdom is already prepared for you. It's already prepared, right? Yahusha is already coming, right? For us, Yahusha's already came, right? But yet, you have to receive the witness, right? Because he still has to come again, right? Same thing he told his disciples. Look, you see him going, but the same Yahushua Mashiach has to come again. Right? He's coming again to gather his people. Right? Gather his people. Again, his people are those who've received the witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood, who's been baptized, been born again, the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, so he says, mother, embrace your children and bring them up in gladness and make their feet fast to pillars. Strengthen your kids. You who understand, you have received the witness. You understand what you're in. For I have chosen thee, saith Yahuwah. Prepare your kids. You know, Yahuwah has done what is necessary, right? Right? The mother that once was, right, let the children get away. She let the children become adulterers, right? But you mothers, you who are in this witness of Yahushua Mashiach, you who have been born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh, make sure you prepare your kids for what's coming. Prepare your kids for what's coming. He said, make their feet as fast as pillars. You know, when you put a pillar into the ground, it's secure, it's fast. It can't be moved, right? Right? Bring your children up in the nurture and the admonition of Yahuwah. Right? And then when they get old, they won't depart from it. Why? Because you have anchored them. Their feet has become pillars. He says, for I have chosen thee. He's chosen you in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach to be his. You are his. You are his. He's chosen you, right? Saith ADONI Yahusha, for I have chosen thee, you people. I have chosen you, you the people. I have chosen you, you the people, right? I have chosen you who have received the witness. I've chosen you who have been born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh, because you have received my name. I've given you my name. Yah salvation, Yahusha HaMashiach. You've received that name in Emunah, and you haven't even seen him. Haven't even known a prophet. You lost everything. You didn't even know you as a people. Yeah, you used to read about all these prophets, but they didn't apply to you because the book wasn't about you. You weren't a people. But he has chosen you, right? Verse 18. For thy help will I send my servant Elias and Jeremy, after whose counsel I have sanctified the people for the 12 tribes laden with diverse fruit. Wow, okay. Right? So Yahuwah is going to send. Right now, the prophet Ezra prophesied. He prophesied after Jeremiah, right? I think he prophesied after Jeremiah and Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah. After whose counsel I have sanctified. Their word. Right? Now, the word that was recorded, that was sent, right, is a word that is to be received for us today. Right? He may physically send, right? But he sent his word by Jeremy in Isaiah, right? Concerning events that were to occur, right? He says, for thy help, right? I will send my servants, Isaiah and Jeremy, after whose counsel I have sanctified. After whose counsel? After whose words? sanctified their words, right? And prepared for thee 12 trees laden with diverse fruit. 12 trees, 12 tribes, right? Diverse fruit, right? And as many fountains flowing with milk and honey, right? So this is a prepared place, right? It's a prepared place that Yahuwah has provided for his people, right? Right? That flows with milk and honey. You know, milk and honey, right? It's the same as what Yahuwah had promised the children of Israel under Moshe. The land that flows with milk and honey. It's a prosperous place, right? Laden with diverse fruit, as many fountains flowing with milk and honey, and 7 mountains. Okay, so let's not get it twisted, right? Right? He has sanctified and prepared the 12 trees laden with diverse fruit. 12 tribes, 12 trees laden with diverse fruit, right? Right? And as many fountains flowing with milk and honey. So you know, it's a place of continual nourishment, right? Because there's always supply of water, of that which is necessary to bring. It's like milk. Milk is for babies. What he provides is going to bring us up, right? He says, listen, and 7 mountains, mighty mountains. Now listen, make no mistake about it. This is Africa, right? Africa is the land that flows with milk and honey. Africa is the land that all of these nations are clamoring to get a piece of, because it's a rich land. It flows with milk and honey. But see, they ain't going to be able to seize it like that. Right? He says, and 7 mighty mountains. There's at least 7 mighty mountains in Africa, right? So we're talking about a place that is abundant in resources, that flows with milk and honey, that has 7 mighty mountains. That's the land of Africa. Not no hills. Not no hills. Mighty mountains. Like Mount Kenya. Listen. Here it is. Let me do this real quick. All right. Mountain ranges. Seven mountains to climb in Africa. Actually, let's do this. 7 mountains to climb. Let's no, I don't want to go there. Let's go back. I don't want to go there. Right? Let's look at this. The 10 mountains, the 10 highest mountains, tallest mountains in Africa. Because, you're talking about mighty mountains. Right? So, the mighty mountains are going to be probably the tallest mountains, right? Right? So let's see where we are, right? Let's go to number one. Number one mountain, right? Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro, right? In Africa. It is the highest mountain in Tanzania, right? On the continent of Africa, right? Mount Kenya, second, right? In Kenya, right? Country Kenya, right? Second highest mountain. Third is in Kilimanjaro, right? So that's three, right? Three, right? The fourth one is, I can't know how to pronounce that. It's it's Rwenzori, right? That's the DR, Congo, Uganda, right? Right? It's number 4, right? Number 5 is Mount Kenya, right? Mountain range, Kenya. Wait. No. Hold on, let me do this a different way. Because it's Mount Kilimanjaro, right? Mount Kenya, right? Mount Stanley. It's in the Democratic Republic of Congo, right? The Seminian Mountains, right? The Seminian Mountains are in Ethiopian highlands, right? Mount Elgon, right? All of these in Africa. It's located in Uganda and Kenya. Uganda, Kenya, right? Uganda, Kenya, right? The Atlas Mountains, right? It's located in Morocco, Algeria, and Tanzania. Or Tunisia, I'm sorry. Tunisia. Right? And then you go into South Africa, the Drakensbergs, which you know ain't African. It's located in South Africa, right? But if you notice, all of these are in Africa, right? They're the tallest and the mightiest. He says, 7 mighty mountains. And all of these mountains are generally clustered in Africa. Right? 7 mountains. Make no mistake about it. The promised land is Africa. It's the land that flows with milk and honey. Right? Congo, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. Okay, so he says, whereupon there grows roses and lilies, where I will fill thy children with joy. So, listen, right? So here you have children that are going to be able to play in the mountains of you, right? Listen. The promised land is not over. It ain't over there. The land of Yahuwah is not where they say it is. It's not where they say it is. Right? So listen, if that was the land of Yahuwah, everybody would want to be there. Right? Yet you got these two people that are fighting over who should have that place. And the people who were there before everybody else. Right? Right? Palestinians. They got railroaded and had their land taken from them. Because the colonizers took their land from them. And then the colonizers, through the Balfour Declaration, gave it to. Right. And these people decided that they were going to be the people. He says, listen, do right to the widows, judge the fatherless, give to the poor, defend the orphans, and clothe the naked. Who did this? Who preached this? Yahusha Mashiach. Right? What is it? Yahusha preach this. Pure and undefiled religion. James says in James, the first chapter, says this, 1:27, pure and undefiled before Yahuwah, and before Eluah, the Abba, is this: visit the fatherless, right? The widows and their affliction, and keep yourself unspotted from the world, right? Right? Let's do this. Let's do this. Strong's 27. Right. What am I looking for? Yahusha preached this. James spoke of this. This is what we do as the people of Yahuwah. Right? This is Torah. This is Torah. There is nothing new under the sun. This is Torah, right? Yahusha HaMashiach supported this in his sermon. He says, do right by the widows. Don't be like the Pharisees and Sadducees. They creep in the house and of silly women laden with sin, and they take advantage of them. Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. And judge the fatherless. You get these kids who, provide justice, direction, and correction to kids who don't have fathers that need that guidance. right? Right? Give to the poor, right? He had a system established in Torah where, you know, you made provisions for the poor, right? You let the poor glean from whatever it is you brought in so that there was never a need for them to not have food, right? Right? He said, give to the poor, right? Told that rich young ruler, he said, listen, sell all you have and give to the poor. And then you have treasures in heaven. Then you'll be right. You could do it because he had much substance. Right? Where your treasures is, that's where your heart is. Give to the poor. Right? Right? He said, give to the poor. Defend the orphans. Those kids who have lost their mothers and their fathers. Listen, you don't see that like you see it nowhere on the continent. You got babies walking around raising babies. Right? Should not be. Right? He said, listen, defend the orphans. Clothe the naked. Right? Do right by the widows and the fatherless. Right? He says, heal the broken and the weak. That's what Yahusha did. That's what Yahusha's ministry was. Right? You witnessed these events in what Yahusha HaMashiach did. Yahusha HaMashiach did these by the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. This was what the Father sent him to do. This is what Yahusha sent us to do. Right? He sent us, right, in this witness, right, to do that which Yahusha declared for us to do. And he's given us his Ruach HaKodesh like he gave Yahusha to empower us to go and to do. Heal the broken. Heal the broken and the weak. Heal. These signs shall follow them that believe in my name. They shall cast out devils. In my name, they will speak in new tongues. In my name, they will take up deadly things. Shake off serpents, shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. Heal the broken and the weak. Right? Yahusha says, I've come to bind up the broken heart, to preach deliverance to the captive, the recovery of sight to the blind, literally the recovery of sight to the blind and those that are blinded because of their sin. He's come to take off the scales. It was not one without the other. It was one working synergistically with the other. Yeah, you lay hands on the blind in the witness of Yahusha Mashiach and Emunah. Then you will open their eyes. See, you know, this stuff it seems foreign to us. You know, I mean, it just seems so foreign to us. We've had what we've seen in the Christian church, and that was all fabricated and show, and none of that ever really happened. All they were doing was casting spells and doing witchcraft, right? Your penny hint, your Creflo Dollars, your T.D. Jakes, your Kenneth Hagin, your Kenneth Copelands, your Jerry Savells, your Jesse Duplantises, all these devils, right? They all. Getting fat. Getting planes. Getting wealthy. He said, laugh not a lame man to scorn. Don't laugh at the state of someone who is crippled. Don't make them the object of your laughter. Right? But defend them. Let the blind man come into the sight of my clearness. Right? The blind, spiritually blind, right? To the truth of the Torah. Right? But also to the physical blind. Because Yahuwah's ministry was not just setting captives free. It was freeing people. In prison, chains fell off. They were freed. But Shaul was freed on the road to Damascus. Right? He was blind. He was made blind. Scales came off. He began to see. Right? The work is not just a work absent of power. Right? See, and again, you have to have the Ruach HaKodesh. This is what this has to look like. What this has to look like. Heal the broken and the weak, laugh not at the lame man to scorn, defend the maimed. Let the blind man come into the sight of his clearness. Keep the old and the young within thy walls. Protect your young and your old. Keep them in a place of security and safety. He said, whosoever thou findest the dead, take them and bury them. That was something we were doing. Now listen, once you bury somebody, then, you got to ceremonially cleanse yourself. It's like a 7-day process after you touch someone that's dead. Right? You have to. But the idea is that take the dead and bury them. Right? Don't just let them rot in the streets. See, that was something that at the time, our people saw death. Right? You say, don't do that. Take your brother and bury him. Put him in the ground. Right? Cover him over. Right? He says, I'll give you a first place in the resurrection. You see to it that you take care of the dead. I see to it that you're taken care of in the resurrection. He says, abide still, O my people, and take thy rest, for thy quietness shall come. Continue in this truth. Continue in the witness of Yahusha HaMashiach. Continue in this, because there is rest. Take your rest. Because you know who you are now. You know that I have come with promises, precious promises. You know that by these you partaker in the divine nature. You've escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. Listen, rest, for thy quietness shall come. Right? Listen, there could come a time when your Shiloh, your peace, your shalom, is going to be established in this kingdom, right? In Africa, where the 7 mountains are, where your kids will be able to go up to the top of them if they want. Right now there's hostility in the Congo.
disarray in Kenya. Electing a new president, and they're concerned that, you know, it might lead to inward fighting, right? Ancient tribes, people. What are these 7 great mountains? Right? You know, there's only rest in Yahuwah, right? There's only rest. Listen, I'm from Gabon, G-A-B-O-N, Gabon. At least that's what the African ancestry said. Today, it says, today you are identified with most of the people in the area of Gabon. Right? Right. Now, Gabon never showed up. Never really showed up on my true ancestry, right? Which means that people migrated to Gabon, right? Hebrews ended up in Gabon, right? And it's coastal, almost coastal, right? It doesn't matter where you are. You're still unrest. Got a president over there that's had a stroke, that's connected to France, that's connected to all these other countries, right? And he want to remain the president. He can barely clap his hands and do anything, but he want to stay the president. You know, the France want him to stay the president. And, you know, because, you know, puppet regimes, man. Continent. He says, nourish thy children, O thou good nurse, O thou good nurse. Stable, establish thy feet. See, I'm remaining, continuing, and dwelling in Torah. I'm doing those things that's going to cause my feet to be established. I'm doing those things that's going to nourish me, that's going to cause me to endure to the end. Right? As for the servants whom I have given thee, right? There shall not one of them perish. See, not in this witness. Right? Servants. Right? I'm a servant of the Most High Yahuwah. And I'm going to declare the witness. I'm going to declare this word to the end. He says, as for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Come amongst the people of Yahuwah that have received the witness of Yahuwah, that have been born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh, that have the witness that Yahuwah has told me to tell you that you must be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh, that you must receive the witness. He's done that for you, right? He says, be not weary, for when the days of trouble and heaviness come, right? Over shall weep Others shall weep and be sorrowful, right? But thou shalt be merry and have abundance. Others gonna be full of sorrow, cause judgment is coming upon the earth. You have a man of Yahuwah here that's gonna tell you the truth, right? And if you receive this witness, right, you will understand the tribulation gonna come, but it's an ally, right? And Yahuwah's gonna prepare you. He's telling you to be prepared right now. He said, nourish thou, be established in thy feet, right? Be established in your goings. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my pathway. Be established in this witness, right? He says, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith Yahuwah. See, because, we're his. We're his people. Those that he's chosen. He's chosen us. His people. Right? Chosen us. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith Yahuwah. Right? My hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. You ain't gonna see hell, right? Right? He's gonna cover you and protect you, right? Doesn't mean you may not lose your life, but he who loses life shall gain it. For my sake, Yahusha said, he who holds on to his life shall lose it, right? But one thing you know is that you ain't going to hell. You know that ain't prepared for you. See, because Yahusha took the keys of death and hell. Right? You and his witness now. That ain't for you. Right? Be joyful, thou mother, with thy children, for I will deliver thee, saith Yahuwah. He'll deliver you. He may deliver you so that you don't see death. But if you do, you still delivered. You still delivered. You still delivered. He shall deliver you. He said, remember thy children that sleep. Those that have slept have passed away in this witness. For I shall bring them out of the sides of the earth and show mercy unto them, for I am merciful, saith Allah Almighty. It's out the side of the earth. He says, for I shall bring them out of the side of the earth. Right? And shall shew mercy unto them. For I am merciful, saith ADONI, Almighty One. Right? Embrace thy children until I come, and show mercy unto them. Embrace thy children until I come. Who? To Yahusha Mashiach come. Right? For my wellness runs over, and my grace shall not fail. That's Yahusha's promise, the Father's promise, to be with you. Yahusha said, my peace leave I with you. Not as the world brings peace. Right? We have his shalom. We have his rest And this Ruach HaKodesh that he's provided for us, right? Right? We understand. He said, embrace your children until I come, and show mercy unto them. For my wells run over. My wells run over, and my grace shall not fail. My provision for you runneth over. Your cup runneth over. And grace shall not fail. Right? He says, I, Ezra, received a charge of ADONI upon the mount of Arab, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandments of you. Because the word was for us. It came to them and they rejected it. That's why he's going to receive a people, right, who didn't have the prophets. People who was robbed and spoiled. Because Israel didn't know how to act. Our fathers didn't know how to act. So we was robbed and spoiled and confused. We lost our identity. We became as one who had children, but yet were not a part of Yahuwah. We produce children in abundance. You know, you got Bill Gates running over there talking about how Africa is going to be overpopulated, and we got to institute measures to control the population. What? You don't, Africa it don't belong to you. Excuse me, these people, man, they talk about it as if they got to take charge over. Yes. You know, crazy thing is, right? If Africa was united, right, they would be that nation that would be feared. They were united. Not DR Congo fighting with Rwanda, right? Right? Not the tribal infightings amongst these other countries. Not this shisty, deceptive, deceitful leadership of these different countries. See, that's why it's going to be Yahuwah who is going to bring it together. He's going to bring it together, right? He's bring it together. He's going to bring it together. Listen, do I want to be on the continent? Yeah. I want to be wherever Yahuwah is. I want to be where his footprint is. I want to be on the mountain that he speaks from. And there's probably no doubt the tallest mountain. I want to be where Yahuwah wants to be. I want to be where Yahuwah wants me to be. But I want to be on the continent. Make no mistake about it. I want to be with the people of Yahuwah. But you know, right now the continent is, though it's Yahuwah's land, Africa, the United Continent, is Yahuwah's. You know, he's got people, other nations, right, that share his country, his continent, right? Technically, everything around the equator and below is us. Everything around the equator, below the equator is us. Yeah. 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 He says, listen. He says, but when I come unto them, They set me at naught and despise the commandments of Yahuwah. Right? He says, and therefore I say unto you, O ye heathens that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. Oh, you heathens. Look for your shepherd. Yahusha came to his own, but his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to be the sons of Elohim, even unto believe on his name, O ye other nations. Look for your shepherd. So Yahusha said, listen, I got sheep that are not of his foes. Them also I must call. I know some of y'all mad until I know it makes you mad. You've been dealing with the rebellious people. Now listen, he still got his people. Yeah, because see, I'm Judah. But I see the witness of Yahushua Mashiach. I'm going to reign with him. Right? Right? But see, you know, for all you stiff-necked, thinking y'all keeping the commandments, but despising Yahuwah's commandments. Man, thinking you keeping Torah, but you ain't been restored. You speaking evil of the Ruach HaKodesh. He said, and therefore I say unto you, O ye heathens, that hear and understand, that hear and understand. Look for your shepherd, because he shall give you everlasting rest. He will give you everlasting rest. To all my Gentile brethren who have received the witness, he's going to give you rest. He's going to give you everlasting rest. For he is nigh at hand that shall come in the end of the world. That's where we at now, y'all. We here. See, because the people have waken up. That's right, you is waking up. And you who have received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and have faith in the blood of Yahushua Mashiach and have his Ruach HaKodesh, you who have emunah in this witness of the other nations. He says, look for your shepherd. Because he's your shepherd too. He belongs to those of the other nations who received his witness. Yeah. Why? It's the same old story. Right? Ezra received a charge of Yahuwah upon the mountain of Oreb, that I should go into Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught. And despised the commandment of Yahuwah. Yeah, because, you know, there's Bruce that despise this right now. This word. That despises. I dare you say to you. I always want to give what you are giving us to the other nations. He didn't give it to you. Because if he had given it to you, you would recognize it was not just to you. Oh man, oh man, oh man. We gonna stop there. We gonna stop there. We still ain't got through this. We still got about... Oh man, we still got a bunch of verses to get through. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called greatness. Woman of Yahuwah, beautifully, wonderfully made. Understand what you win. Understand what you win. Understand what he has made available to you. Now, he's made this available to all who would receive the witness, right? But you got to understand that includes everybody. This is the people. You know, and your forefathers, you know, they didn't want to take heed to the command. They didn't want to take heed to the command. So to the heathens, those who did not have the prophets, those that did not have the feast days, the Shabbats, the new moons, look for your shepherd, Yahusha. Receive the witness of Yahusha. Be born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. Have the blood of Yahusha cleanse you from sins. Right? He says, Yahusha is going to give you rest. For he is nigh at hand. And that shall come in the end of the world. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's it. Yahuwah, I give you praise for your word. I pray that your word would be a lamp unto their feet, a light unto their pathway, that the word would give them light, and it would give understanding to the simple. Yahuwah, that your word would cleanse their ways by giving heed. Yahuwah, I pray that I would continue by your Ruach HaKodesh to be used by you. That the word of Yahuwah, your word, will come forth from me. That all that I say would be what you would have me say. Yahuwah, I give you praise. Let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. This day, Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Yah be praised. 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 That just came from me. I don't know where it came from. You were Ruach. Hallelujah. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called the greatness, unity and wonderfully made. That's all we got. So, listen. I want you to know, you got to obey. You got to receive this witness. You got to obey. You got to take heed to the word of the man of Yahuwah. You got to obey. You got to receive the witness. You got to obey. And listen, with that I say, shalom, shalom, shalom. Listen, be blessed. Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.